Have you ever been rejected? I ask this because from time to time I get suggestions about what to talk about here at YouTube. And I had this suggestion from Madeline, thank you, and my Facebook group, the Personal Development Hub. So if you're in there, you would have seen this suggestion from Madeline, who's a very wise woman, about rejection. So I thought, let's talk about it today. Rejection's interesting, you know. If you've felt rejected, I have over the years, oh my gosh, it can be heartbreaking, can't it? Those intimate relationships where you feel rejected all of a sudden, how do you recover from that? And then there's just plain old rejection, you know, when you're a kid growing up in those formative years, and you're the last person standing when they're choosing teams or groups, and you're there and no one's picking you. Quite a shaming event, really. Sometimes we never get over those events. We live with that all our lives. We take that experience from our past and bring it into our present and future. So you have to be mindful about this. Because sometimes what I've seen in terms of rejection is that it just means the other person has made different choices. It's not always about me. Have you noticed that? It's just that they've chosen someone else. Think about that for a minute. The decision of rejection is left with them, and then you take it on and make it your own. You've been rejected. You know, in some cases, I believe it's absolutely true. So don't get me wrong. I think that's evident in what I see out in the world. But there's times where, for example, you've been in a relationship a long time. You may well have been committed together, had a marriage together, partnership, whatever it is. And then one day, either party says, this isn't working for me. I want out. And that, I have noticed, is people just outgrowing each other, changing direction. And it is challenging in a partnership to grow together and nourish, because we're all the time mixing out in the world. And one of the things that makes, I believe, healthy relationship is partners being out there and coming back and bringing nourishing aspects back to the relationship, so you can talk about it, etc., etc. And sometimes we just outgrow each other. And when the brave soul says, this isn't working, then the other party feels totally disrespected and rejected. Two of those things, disrespected and rejected. And honestly, sometimes it just means that they've grown apart. It's a gift. Oh, it's hard to take that one though, isn't it? It doesn't feel like a gift. Feels pretty awful. Feels alone. You feel alone. You're lonely. All of those things. What on earth happened? Well, what I want to encourage you to do is be curious about it. What was that all about? Why am I having this learning? How can I change it? How's quite a good approach. How can I change it rather than why? Why takes us into our head. How takes us more into here, into action. How can I change that? What's that all about? Another thing is, what's that all about? And I've found if I can take a step back, I don't take it so personally, and I start to see it for what it is. And that's challenging because it's very subjective, isn't it? When you're involved, it's very subjective. You feel hurt, you feel rejected. So I think there's lots of different ways to be rejected. And one of the ways to get through it, I believe, is to start saying, what's that about? What am I supposed to be learning? I've had a few of these learning curves lately myself. So I know that it really works to ask, what's this about? How can I overcome this? And rejection quite often means that you feel like the victim in the situation. And you don't want to feel like the victim. That puts you on the back foot. It puts you a bit, oh, how do I overcome it? And it's particularly true when you have a lot invested in a relationship, a lot of heart stuff invested in a relationship, or a business that you're passionate about, and your business partner rejects you. But on an intimate level, it's very hard to overcome. And wherever possible, and I know this is a big ask because I've been in this situation myself, it's a big ask to challenge yourself to step back a little bit and go, what was that all about? It's kind of like a flag. This is a learning alert, you know. Oh no, I don't really want to learn this. How many times have you thought that? No, not now. The timing's terrible. I've had events in my life like that where like, oh no, the timing's not right, but you know, the timing's never right. So think about this notion of rejection. Is it actually about me, or is it about someone just making a different choice? And if it really is about you, I think it's a big flag to say, what do I need to do? Do I need to plunge myself into some growth? Because quite often, those real heartfelt rejections, and I've had them, where you feel like you're never going to get over it, like your first love, if you like. You could cry for 3 months about it because your partner chose someone else. When it's your first love, it's heartbreaking. And it's all very well when you get to my age, where hopefully I've got a bit of wisdom, I can say, oh, what's that all about? What's the lesson? But I want to encourage you just to step back and go, what's the learning here? Because that's how we grow. You know, that's right out of your comfort zone stuff. So if you've felt rejected, I'd love to know in the comments how you have coped with that. Have you been able to be curious and go, what's that all about? What am I learning? Or has it taken you down the slippery slope? Because it can take you out of the game. And then the third option, if you like, is just agreeing that someone's made a different decision that doesn't include you. And sometimes people are not even considering you in it. They're just making a decision, which is pretty horrible. But that's how life works. It's not always sweetness and light. This is the reality of the situation. You kind of got to dust yourself off and go, oh, wow, you know. But be curious. Be curious about what's this all about? What am I supposed to be learning? And see if you can find the positives in it. I know straight away you don't. It feels pretty terrible, but you will in time. I know that you will in time. Usually good comes out of things like that, even though it doesn't always feel good. So let me hear from you. Put some comments in. I would love to know. And ask me some more questions. I love it. Thanks, Madeline, for the suggestion. I hope you found this helpful. This is Mary Scott. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye-bye.